there, I'm glad you're here. At Seaver Shoots, back with another video. Today I'm talking about one of my favorite products that I've been sent so far. But before we get into that, let's talk about some affiliates. So the first one is Axle Hearing Protection. If you are looking for a well-rounded earbud that does just about everything, then look into their GS Extreme 2.0s. They are active listening, so while you're wearing them, you can hear what's going on around you. They are noise canceling, up to 29 decibel reduction, which is better than most ear pro out there on the market. They are also Bluetooth capable, so you can connect them to your phone, listen to music, podcasts, whatever you want while you're using them for whatever you want. And they're extremely lightweight and low profile, especially compared to like earmuffs that people wear going out on the gun range. You can also use them for the gym or for work. If you happen to work in a really noisy truck like I do, they will block out that noise and protect your hearing. Go to their website. There's a link down in the description and you can shop around. They're usually doing a deal, but if they're not, use Seaver Shoots at checkout and that'll save you 15%. The next affiliate is actually the sponsor of this specific video, and that is Lems Shoes. They focus on minimalistic barefoot style footwear, and today we're going to be talking about probably their most well-rounded product in my opinion. I've been wearing them for the last 6 months and giving them total crap, and it is the Lems Outlander. I have put these through the ringer. I have given them way more abuse than most of you will probably ever give a hiking boot. That's what this was made for specifically. Lems came out with the Boulder boot a long time ago and people love it. They love the way it feels, they love the way it looks, but they didn't love the way that it gripped. Lems' response to all of that was to come out with the Outlander, which has a really rugged sole made specifically for traction while hiking. It also has a waterproof upper, and when I got it, it was actually designated as 0 drop. It is now designated as a 2mm drop, and I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video. So if that's something that you're worried about, hold on to the end, or if that's all you're looking for, skip to the end. But I'm going to talk about a couple different aspects that I think make this the most well-rounded boot that currently is out there on the market. One of the things that I absolutely love about this boot is its wide toe box. Now, some people initially thought that it wasn't wide enough, but what I found was that if you stuck with it, the only way that this shoe needs to break in, since it's a barefoot style shoe and barefoot style shoes don't usually need breaking in, is for the toe box to widen up a little bit. I'm actually going to bring online my dedicated hiking Outlander, and I will do a close-up that I'll roll in B-roll, but what you can see is that this blue one is definitely a little bit wider than the green one, and it definitely feels wider on my foot as well. The green one is still a little bit restrictive. I have really wide feet, so there's also that to consider, so it is somewhat subjective, but the blue Outlander for me has definitely gotten wider over time. The next thing I want to talk about is the materials. The upper has held together fantastically. It is made of rubber, nylon, and some leather. Haven't kept up with the leather at all. Haven't used any kind of wax or whatever you're supposed to do in order to keep up with it, and I haven't experienced any cracking or ripping of any kind. Rubber pieces are really awesome and a super great addition that makes it really rugged, so that when I am kicking things, which I am all day, often kicking boxes and kicking stairs on accident, all those things, this thing has kept my toes super protected. The other thing that I will say is that it handles heat really well. I didn't mind these in the summer. I got them in June and immediately started wearing them at work. So June, July, August, all of the hot weather, didn't experience any excessive foot sweating. So even though it is completely waterproof, keeps your foot super dry, it somehow also manages to breathe really well. Speaking of the waterproofing, I did wear these out in a torrential downpour, and while the rest of me came home completely soaked, my feet were perfectly dry. And that was a huge testament, a huge unplanned test on these boots that showed me just how amazingly waterproof they really are. Also through the winter slogging, through the slush and everything, haven't experienced any wet foot at all. So even into this 6th month of wearing these in December, haven't had any issues with the waterproofing. Now let's move down to the lower, which is a part of the shoe that a lot of people will focus on, since that is kind of the reason that Lems came out with it in the first place. Barefoot shoes have a reputation for being extremely light, and they're light because of the material choices that the companies decide to go with. What that usually ends up meaning for the sole is that the sole ends up really soft, because soft rubbers tend to be lighter. That doesn't seem to be any different when it comes to the Outlander, although on Lems website you can find that for their lighter shoes that are made more for everyday and running and stuff like that, they use air injected rubber, which just means there's air pockets all throughout, little micro air pockets all throughout the rubber, which makes it significantly lighter. They do also wear faster. They say that for their more rugged trail shoes, Outlander included, they use a full rubber. They don't explain what that means. All they explain is that it's meant to be more rugged. And while I think that that is true, these things are not meant to go through the abuse that I gave them for the last 6 months. I wore these 5 days a week for 20,000 steps a day. And what that translated to is me rubbing off the lugs, the gripping lugs at the front here. So you will notice that is a significant difference between the old one and the new one, is that I have absolutely decimated the sole on this poor blue guy over here. I'm still using it to this day. This very day that I'm making this video, I used this at work and it held up just fine. No issues. Definitely not as grippy up towards this end on the ice and the snow, but that is okay. And the other thing that I will note is that on this shoe, the left one specifically, I've worn through the heel a bit here, just the gray material. I think we're starting to get into this black material, whatever it is right here. So there's still rubber under here, and this hasn't compromised the waterproofing of the shoe at all, but I did manage to wear through it in 6 months. That has been a very accelerated life of this shoe. If you are getting this guy as a dedicated hiker, I've used this guy on 3 or 4 hikes now, one in the snow, which I will roll footage in of now, and it has held up perfectly fine. So I want to switch over to this shoe to talk about it specifically, because I had them send me a second pair of these so that I could test these lugs out and their traction out in the winter, on the snow, on the ice specifically. Now, no shoe is going to do well on ice. That's just reality. Ice is slippery unless you're wearing some kind of shoe with spikes, which I'm not going to do because I'm not going on that dangerous of snowy, icy hikes. These things perform amazing in snow. Lems was kind enough to send a pair out for my brother as well, who's also been using them he's actually been using them as a daily driver, but he's been using them on hikes as well. And we wore these on a snow hike recently. And one thing we noticed when we got back to the parking lot was, did we slip one time that whole hike up and down the mountain? Not once. Not once did either of us slip and turf it. I never ended up in the snow, which is amazing for a snow hike, if I'm being super honest. So these things hold up fantastically in the elements, all of the elements. Like I said, I wore them in the summer, breathed fine, obviously grippy on dry ground. I wore them all throughout the fall with a little bit of rain and mud, no issues there, completely dry. Wearing them in the winter, that's where they really shine. There's nothing in them that makes them particularly warm, but if you're wearing a pair of smart wool socks, you're not gonna have any issues. My brother and I both had smart wool socks on for our snow hike, and neither of us experienced any cold feet, cold toes, no issues there. So if you're wearing good underlayers, then this can be a perfectly well-rounded boot and do all of the seasons for you just fine. Let's talk about that 2mm thing that I know is going to bother and turn a lot of you off who are barefoot shoe enthusiasts, because for a lot of you, it's 0 drop or die. I just want to show you how little 2mm is. So the lugs on these boots are 4mm, okay? So that's how much the depth is here in between each lug. So let's go ahead and take half of that That's 2 millimeters. That's the drop you experience from heel to toe. Now, I don't know if there was a design oversight or something that happened at Lems when they started making this shoe, because like I said, when I ordered this one on the website, it was designated as a 0 drop boot, but somewhere in there between when I got those and when I got these, it was changed and updated to a 2 millimeter drop. Now, I got into barefoot shoes because I had back pain from wearing shoes that were not 0 drop, and I found that when I got my first pair of 0 Prios that my back pain pretty much dissolved immediately when I was out and about walking the dog. Especially, I do that a lot, and I was experiencing back pain. This fixed that. There's no difference with this. That 2 millimeter drop is nothing to me, and it could be subjective. It could be because I already walk and run on the balls of my feet. When I was wearing Nikes though, the heel drop is so significant that it was forcing me to heel strike, and that's probably what was causing my back pain. So what I will say is, you may notice the drop, you may not. I am a person who does not notice the drop. My brother is someone who did notice the drop at the beginning, but since he's been wearing these so often, he has come to find that the drop isn't noticeable for him anymore. So it might just be a break-in thing, something that takes time for you to get used to. My final thoughts for this boot, for the Lems Outlander, and this isn't the last time you'll see it. I'm going to bring it on for comparisons with other boots, because there are now many barefoot boots out there on the market to try out. I'm going to definitely hold these up as my gold standard currently, because I really think they're amazing. I think they do everything, and the other boots that I bring in here are going to have to live up to this somehow, but it's good to go. It is the most well-rounded shoe. If you're looking to get into barefoot shoes, this is maybe the first one you should get, because it's going to do whatever you want it to do. I don't know if there's anything else I can say about it at this point, really. Go get yourself some. Go hit that link down in the description and get yourself some Lems Outlanders, if they're not sold out, which I don't think they are. They're pumping these things out like crazy because people want them. Guys, if you liked this video, I would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. If you didn't like it, let me know why down in the comment section so I can make my videos better for you. If you're interested in any of the affiliates that I talked about in this specific video, that were just the 2, then go ahead and head down to the description and find those links, and you can shop around for whatever product it is that you are looking for. And as always, I will catch you later.